Hello and welcome to Crux Investor. We caught up earlier today with Blaine, Monaghan, CEO at Pacific Ridge Exploration. This is one of his new ventures. He spoke to us with regards to Fremont last year. So early days, just raised 1.1 million bucks. They're about a 4 million market cap. So not much for me to say other than if you like a good solid management team with a tight capital structure, hunting copper and gold in the right district, you might just like to listen to this story. If you want our thoughts and opinions on it, you can find those at cruxinvestor.com/club, where you can also find detailed company reports and analysis. There are commentaries from experts from around the world on a variety of companies and commodities, which are quite insightful. We've got training courses to help you with your diligence. We've got summaries of other interviews that we've done to save you some time because we know you're busy. And if you want to try join a thriving community of investors sharing their thoughts and ideas with each other in a nice, safe and friendly environment, free from judgment, abuse, etc., you could join them at cruxinvestor.com/club. You'll enjoy it. And we'd love your feedback too. So do give us a like. It'd be appreciated. Leave your thoughts below. We'll get back to everyone. And if you want to see precisely what we talked about today, do take a look in the description below. Blaine, how you doing, sir?
Very good. How are you?
Long time. When did we last speak?
I think we spoke last May or June with Fremont, as a matter of fact.
Right.
Fremont Gold.
Okay, fantastic. How are they getting on?
Very well. We raised, Fremont Gold raised about $2 million in the fall to drill North Carlin. And, we're very excited about that project because it's right at the northern end of the Carlin Trend. The targets we've identified have never been drilled. And if we have success with this drill program that we just finished, it could be absolutely huge for shareholders.
Right. Okay. So you're still working on that, and we're going to talk today about your new project. I just need to say before we get going, though, there's some people who can really carry off a beard, right? You know that, don't you? You're not one of them, right?
I don't think so. Yeah.
Right. Just want to say that.
Just a bit too much gray. If I didn't have hair product in, my hair would almost be white. I might go the way of Ronald Reagan and just start going jet black.
Just like I subscribe to that. Absolutely. Hey, well, should we talk about your new project today? That's why we're here. We're going to talk about Pacific Ridge Exploration. I guess this is more an awareness thing for us because it's really early days. Because I enjoyed the conversation we had in the middle of last year with the other project. This is copper and gold, so it's topical. I want to hear what you're setting out to do. Maybe you can, give us your presence in a few months' time and let us know how it's getting on. So, what have you set out to do with this company?
Yeah, I'll give the 30,000 foot view. So Pacific Ridge has been around for quite a long time, since the late 70s, and really it's been focused primarily on gold in the Yukon. Last year, we pivoted to copper gold projects in BC. We acquired the Kliyul and Redton from Centerra. Kliyul is advanced stage, and when I say advanced stage, it's seen about 33 drill holes. With the more recent drilling in 2015, identified the copper gold porphyry mineralization. It hasn't been drilled since then. We've done a lot of work since we acquired it last year, and the timing was perfect. Obviously, copper is certainly a hot commodity, pardon the pun. And we're looking forward to getting in there in the summer. We just raised $1 million financing from one individual in Germany. That gets us almost all the way to funding the drill program, and we'll be starting up in July. And I don't know if your viewers have been watching, but projects of this type are very much in high demand. We just saw GT Gold being acquired by Newmont today, and our Kliyul is geologically quite similar to GT's Saddle North deposit. Okay.
Well, maybe we can talk about that in a second. So you've been backed by one individual in Germany. Who is this mystery person?
Yeah, it was quite serendipitous. I had just started on as CEO in January. I received an email from this individual telling me that he wanted to give me $1 million, and typically you have to treat those emails from Nigeria with skepticism. But I did do a little bit of digging, and I recognized, no, this individual is for real. And so we started a conversation, and I did a little bit of research on him. And this individual, his fund Delphi, has been acquiring large stakes in companies over the past few years. He's a control person in Skeena, which had done very, very well for him, another BC company, and another BC company called Rockmaster. So in the course of his research, he came across Pacific Ridge. He thought we were an absolute steal, and he wanted to give us money. So I took it.
Good man. What did you tell him you were going to do with it?
I said we're going to use it all for drilling Kliyul. I think he saw the value. When you look at Pacific Ridge, you look at the team. When you look at our projects, when you look at the share structure and you looked at our valuation, when I first came on with Pacific Ridge, it had a $1.5 million market cap. It had $700,000 in the treasury, a great team, a great board, and a number of great projects. Just no one knew about it. And that's kind of why I'm here too, is just help continue to build that interest and awareness and, make people aware of this great project we have that we're going to start drilling in the summer.
Okay, well, let's start with some of those things you've named there. Okay, so let's start with the team. So here are active members of the team. Obviously, you've got this is a side gig for you, isn't it?
I'm splitting my time 50-50. So I'm equally devoted to Fremont and Pacific Ridge. And that's a good question because a lot of people have concerns when CEOs do that or members of the executive team. One of the biggest costs for junior exploration companies is management salary. And if you can help reduce that and you're still effective and able to do your job, then I don't see any issues with it. And I know I've got the time, effort, and energy to be able to devote my time to both companies and be successful at that. And the other important issue is potential conflict, and where Fremont is focused on gold in Nevada, Pacific Ridge is focused on copper gold projects in BC, and they have completely separate technical teams. So it's, I think it's going to work really well, and it works well for both companies because it helps reduce their costs also.
Okay, and so talk about the technical team. What have they done before?
Yeah, really strong. So I replaced Jerry Carlson, who's a PhD geologist, as CEO. He remains as executive chairman, so he'll be leading the technical team. We also brought on a VP of exploration last year called Danette Schwab. We recently added a new board member called Borden Putnam. And he's one of those unicorns in our industry where he comes from the buy side, an analyst. He is also very strong technically. One of his provisions for joining the board was a technical team, heading up a technical committee. So it's comprised of himself, Gordon Davis, Danette Schwab. We also have Craig Hart, who is the head of the Mineral Resource Department at UBC. And we also recently added another, a former senior geologist with the BC Ministry of Energy and Mines to the technical committee. So technically, I think we have an absolutely hand-picked team for this type of project in BC.
Right. So let's get into what this type of project is in BC. Why do you need such a technical team?
Yeah, it's a porphyry type system. So it's a copper gold porphyry system. I mean, we're hoping to make a discovery that'll lead to a deposit. It has seen some drilling. We're talking about, intervals of approximately 250 meters in length of 0.75 copper equivalent. It's only seen a few holes that went that deep to identify that porphyry style mineralization. So our job this year is to get in there, drill a little bit deeper. We've done some IP work that have shown that we can continue to extend what we call the Kliyul main zone. It's also identified some adjacent targets called Kliyul West and Kliyul East that haven't been tested. We'll be looking to test that. And the Kliyul main zone itself is just one porphyry target along a 4-kilometer long mineralized trend that can, that hosts additional porphyry targets. So there's a lot of work to do, but we'll be starting this year with at least a 2,500 meter program in 5 holes, testing the Kliyul main zone and the east and west target, and continuing to build up those other porphyry targets as well.
Right, and there are any sort of lessons that you can learn from companies in the district about the way you go about building up that value? Because obviously the stuff under the ground you can't necessarily control, but there's quite a few things that you can control, and you got to get that balance between like talking to the market, like we're doing now. We're having a conversation, make people aware of it. Controlling your costs, making sure that it doesn't become a sort of geologist's wet dream of, how you go about doing things the right way. So how are you approaching this?
Yeah, I think all of the things you're talking about. So one is obviously costs. We've been very fortunate in the past with Pacific Ridge, and I think that's why its share structure has stayed quite attractive. We had farmed out a project called the Fire Lake to a private British company called BMC Metal. So we've been receiving payments for that. We've received about $2 million over the last several years, and we have another $1 million due to us at the end of the year. So what Jerry was doing during the bear market was really surviving off those payments from BMC to conduct small exploration programs and really keeping a tight reins on the spending. And as a result, I mean, the share structure is in great shape, but it's also meant that not a lot of money was spent on marketing and IR and building up awareness. But we're now at a point where we have this sort of project it has a lot of meat on it, and it's certainly our flagship where we need to raise a lot more money than we have in the past. We need to create that interest and awareness, so we need to spend more money on marketing and IR responsibly, I would say. On the technical side is building that team, and also looking to the other deposits and mines in the areas that share similar geological similarities to Kliyul, like Kemess to the north, Mount Milligan to the south, Red Chris, and as I mentioned earlier, G2 Gold Saddle North. So there is a lot of information available to us when we're looking at this style of mineralization, but it is also important to bring other people on board that have skin in the game and can share in the success if we have it.
Right, but there's a game played, isn't there? You kind of got to get those headlines out there to get the share price moving, to be able to make the money that you do raise a lot cheaper. And that's a game that's played usually up front before you can actually get down to the serious business. So cognizant of that, is that the way you like to come at it?
Absolutely. And that gets back to when I was first contacted by this Delphi, and when they wanted to give us money, I wasn't happy with where we were trading at the time to be able to raise that sort of money. And as a matter of fact, even with them giving us that $1 million, it meant because our market cap was so low and they were giving us a big chunk of dough, it created regulatory issues where we had to get exemptions for them to go above a certain percentage of ownership. So that money goes a long way to funding the drill program. We budgeted about $1.65 million. That brought in 1.1, and we have about 500,000 in the treasury. So I think you will see us do another small raise, but again, I would like to continue to try to do it at higher prices. I want to minimize dilution, and honestly, I think as people become more aware of Pacific Ridge and our team and our projects and what we're trying to do, I think they'll see the value. And it's not only from the Kliyul or the team. We have all these other gold projects in the Yukon that we'll look to spin out or sell at some point in time to unlock further value. And as I mentioned, we're due another $1 million by BMC at the end of the year, and I fully expect them to give us that, because they've already given us $2 million, and that project is worth a lot more today than it was several years ago when we first signed that deal.
And does the current market condition help you? We've had this kind of reset in the precious metal prices, right? It's happened for whatever reason. It's happened. A lot of companies have kind of come off. Equities have dropped, and that's from producers all the way down to the explorers. In this environment, are you able to have conversations about raising funds? Do you want to have conversations about raising funds? How do you get the timing right?
Yeah, I think we've, in a short period of time, been able to make that transition in some investors' mind with respect to what commodity we're focused on. As in the past, I mentioned we were more focused on gold in the Yukon. Now we're focused on copper gold projects in BC. So I think people now are viewing us more as a copper dominant company, which is certainly playing in our favor. If we were viewed more as a gold company, I think we would be suffering more than we have. But I mean, we've gone from when I came on, 5 cents up to 14 cents, and today we're in the low teens. And I think as we continue to communicate our story and people will view us as a copper gold company, that's going to continue to play well for us. I do continue to have people that want to give us money, but with the money we have now, I feel confident that we can continue to wait. I think there's a lot more value to be had. And I won't be looking to raise any more money until we get closer to our drill date in July. And I think we'll be raising money at higher prices.
But tell me this, you're circa 4 million market cap Canadian. Why on earth would anyone think of investing into copper, gold, straight, invest in a small company like you?
Sure. Well, you could have asked that same question when we were trading at 1.5 million when I came on. So we've already increased dramatically percentage-wise since then. And I think we've got a long way to go as far as continuing to add value. we only have 44 million shares out. We're trading at 11 or 12 cents. We have the money. We've got a great project that's going to deliver results. And I think there is tremendous upside here. And that was one of the reasons why I joined.
Let's finish off. I think the key is that people are aware that you're there. You've got the money to do what you want to do. So what should they next be looking for? When are you going to come back and talk to us, and what about?
Yeah, several things. Since I came on in January, we brought on an IR consultant, someone I've worked with in the past that is very good. Brought on a new board member, Borden Putnam. Raised $1 million from this German investor. Added another individual to the technical committee. So this has all happened in the space of a number of months. What I'd like to see next is some additional copper gold project acquisition. So we have Kliyul, which is the focus. That's what we'll be drilling. We have Redton, which was a part of that deal with Centerra. But I'd like to continue to build the pipeline, whether projects that are close to Kliyul or a little bit further afield, and more fully build out that copper gold project pipeline in BC or in other jurisdictions, and then also look to unlock the value from the Yukon Gold project portfolio, and then ultimately move forward with drilling. And I think at a very minimum, we're going to be able to replicate some of those holes we've returned in the past, those longer intervals of, almost 250 meters of 0.75 copper equivalent. And if we can continue to grow that footprint, then it's going to get really exciting.
Okay, brilliant. Blaine, good to catch up.
Thank you.
Thanks for thinking of us and coming on telling us that you're around and you are what you're doing. Copper Gold BC. I think hopefully you've got the timing right.
I think so. I think so. I think copper is looking good for a very long time. And you know what? Yes, gold might be a little bit weaker, but I think long term it's looking fantastic as well. So if you have a project that has both in a great jurisdiction, I think, great timing.